Hey everybody, it's Joseph from My Gamers Reviews here, and I promised that I would show you guys my gold paladin deck. I went to my locals yesterday, and I went undefeated with this deck. I took out a Dragonic Overlord, the End deck. I took him out first game, and in our third game I just demolished him. Shadow Paladin deck. I went up against Bermuda Triangles, the brand new ones from the new Dazzling Divas, I believe, extra booster that came out, and the older ones, took them all out. So this deck has been undefeated, so I want to show you guys the deck profile. Okay, so starting Vanguard is Crimson Lion Cub Criff. We're running 8 critical triggers. We're running 4 stand, and we're running 4 heal. 4 Gareth, 4 Halo Shield Marks, your perfect guard. 3 Slagle Daggers, 2 Little Battler Trons, 4 Bumanes, 3 Vivian, 3 Lapierre, and 2 Bagged Magus. And then we're running 4 Blond Ezels, 2 Sagamore, and 2 Gigatech Destroyers. Alright, so pretty much what I like to say about Gold Paladins is that they're just too fast, too furious. And this is why they're too fast, too furious. Alright, so Criff can Superior Ride into Blond Ezel when your opponent basically just has a grade 1 or grade 2 Vanguard. And that's pretty devastating when you have the upper hand on them. Especially when they're at grade 1 still and you have the grade 3 out. And it just destroys people. That's what I did to the Shadow Paladin player. The Dragonic Overlord, the End player, who was the judge, he pretty much just took out Criff over and over and over again. Criff is not your go-to card. He's not the end-all, be-all card in the deck. Alright? But he's a great card just to grab Ezel out extremely fast. Even when you have Ezel in your hand, you still want to use that ability that skill, to just get him out from the deck, because then you could have one left over for a perfect guard just to ditch, or just a second rear guard. Alright, so the 8 crits, that's just standard, just to do some crazy damage and put your opponent in a huge corner. Alright, so we have Gareth, part of the Criff skill. So the 4 Halo Shield Marks are pretty self-explanatory. I just like these ones because they're brand new. I think this card's going to get even more of a price drop once set 10 comes out in America, because it'll be his 3rd reprint. So, his 2nd reprint. So there'll be like 3 in circulation. The original, the one with the new Sentinel, and then just the new art that'll be on it when he's a Liberator. Okay, so I run 3 Slagle Daggers because they can become 9k boosters, which is great. 2 Trons because 10k boost on your Ezel is pretty big. And, out of all honesty, he's not the best unless he's behind the Vanguard. And the whole point of Gold Paladins and Royal Paladins is to get all your units out, have a full field, because that's when they get their most power. So running 2 Trons, I feel, is just really good. The 3 Vivians, because I thought 2 was just a little bit too less, so I thought 3 was just the perfect number. If your opponent lets their attack go through, you counterblast 1, and you can just call the top card of your deck. So you'd have 1 column that's empty, you can start filling that up. It's good against Mega Colonies if you get like a grade 1 and you can't hit, or you just don't want it to hit, or if you get a draw trigger, you can use the skill and then give power to maybe if Vivian attacked first, you could give more power to Ezel. So there's just tons of things you can do. Also, if you get a Lapierre Shooter. So I haven't really seen many people run Lapierre Shooter in their Blond Ezel decks. Normally people would run Trip or something else. But I feel like Lapierre is just a great card because there's 2 cards in the deck that call cards from the deck. And technically there's 7. There's Vivian and there's Blond Ezel. So once Lapierre gets called, say if you only had enough to do 1 Limit Break Counterblast, So you end up getting Lopier out. So Ezel's going to get the 9k boost, and you're going to be able to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, arrange them in any order. You're going to pick one, call it to rear guard, and arrange the other 2 in any order and put them at the bottom of your deck, which is great. Say if you got cards that you just didn't even need. Say if you got 3 cards that weren't triggers, you needed a booster or whatever, put that down, and then when Ezel goes for an attack, you could be lucky and get double crit, crit draw, crit heal, double heal, or whatever, or at least one of the 16. Your chances are a lot better. I feel like Lopier's Shooter just adds more to that field advantage. The only thing I don't like about him is once he's in your hand, he's a dead card. But I felt like running 3 is just good, just because, if you run 1, your chances of getting him aren't that great. If you run 2, again, your chances aren't that great. So if you run 3, I think 3 is the perfect number for him. Plus it filled in room for the deck. 2 Bagdemagus, just because he's a 12k interceptor, and you're going to have Ezel as your Vanguard all the time. So I saw no point in putting in, like 3 or 4 of them, just because I don't know. I mean, sometimes if something happens, God forbid you don't get Ezel, and then he's just 9k and he's just not that great. But I felt 2 was just perfect. Just the perfect number for him is just 2. So I just kept in the 2. Obviously my 4 Ezels. So a lot of people always question me whenever they see Sagramore come out, and normally people think that you're going to run, Garamore with your Gold Paladin builds. Well, there's a lot of talk in the OCG land. Garamore isn't really too fast, too furious for this deck. It's actually really inconsistent. I mean, he only has Vanguard effects. I'm not a huge fan of just having cards that are just all Vanguard, because if I already have one, that's going to be the main Vanguard. The main focus of this deck is Ezel. Why would I want another one? I mean, I know Garamore can do Counterblast 2, and I can just grab Lopier and then use Lopier's skill and then, get other cards out, or whatever else I need. And then he becomes 15 if I have 4 damage. But say if I already have Ezel out, what's the point of having Garamore? Garamore's just a 10k beater, and Sagramore's a 10k beater that can, if I use Limit Break twice, and I want to go for a big push, Counterblast 1 with Garamore, and if he has a Slagle Dagger behind, he's 20k instead of being a 19. So that actually really helps a lot, because then it makes your opponent have to use more shield than they need to. So I think Sagramore is just a great card to have in general. And obviously the gigantic destroyers, just because they're just 12k grade 3 alone whenever they attack, so 12k beater. So that's why I only have 2 Bagdemagus, because I already have basically 4 12k beaters. There's no point in having more of that when you could just fill it up with other cards that would just make the deck a lot faster, a lot more fierce, like Slagle Dagger, who can become 9k as a boost. It's pretty scary. Say if you start calling in Flames of Victories, start soul charging, because that's what you want to do. You want to just soul charge when you get these things. If you have hand, and you can just bring out other cards. So you're just basically giving Ezel a 14 boost if you were to get 2 of these, or 1 and 2, which I've had happen to me in test runs, not in actual games. But it happens. So this is my Gold Paladin build. It is currently undefeated. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll be making a Platina Ezel build, and I hope you guys get ready for that, because there's going to be it's basically going to be this deck, but with a few cards not in there. Also, there's going to be a Royal Paladin budget deck build, which should be coming out at the beginning of this week, if not maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. So there you go. This is Joseph from My Gamers Reviews, and I'm signing out. Peace.